A very good day to you. Welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jadil Kabir. So glad that you're joining us for political conversations that are usually very simple, truthful, and biased. Prof puts them in a very hard-hitting manner. How are you doing today, sir?
Good.
So much to talk about. We're waiting for the swearing in of President-elect William Ruto.
Yes.
But our conversation for today is what's next for Raila Odinga.
Raila Amolo Odinga.
Raila Amolo
Baba.
Odinga. But before we get to what next...
A.K.A. Tinga.
You call him the magnet.
Yes.
But tell me,
yes.
what went wrong? You know, we've talked about this several times, but now that we have Ruto now, after the Supreme Court, going to be sworn in, what went wrong throughout his whole campaign, his strategy? Why
I've always maintained that blaming people is never a good thing. It's never a way forward. It makes you stagnate where you are. You don't move forward. But what has been said, of course, is, first of all, the revelations in court, whether the Supreme Court found merit in them or not, could partly explain why Raila did not win. There's also been said the campaign wasn't quite structured, it wasn't quite organized, and that a number of people within the campaign secretariat could have underperformed. But that's blame. What under bridge? Ruto is your president, so we can talk about something else.
Talk to me then about President Uhuru Kenyatta. I think it is Mutai who said he disabled Deep State. He put that on Twitter. Embakasi East Member of Parliament, Babu, says it was a long con. It's as if Uhuru should be entirely blamed for Raila's loss. Do you read from the same script?
Not necessarily so. But as a Kenyan observer, there is some merit in what people are saying, including what Mutai Nguni is saying. Uhuru didn't perhaps do what would have been expected. Not necessarily to steal an election for Raila, but to prevent the sort of things you saw being revealed or exposed at the Supreme Court. And elsewhere in social media and on CNN and so on and so forth.
Okay.
To that extent, you can say Uhuru, yes, could have been responsible for this problem.
Do you think he supports Ruto? Because some would, I think it's also Mutanguni who said it was like Raila was a decoy. Uhuru was supporting Ruto but didn't want Raila to know.
It is possible, but that level of acting will really be more than Hollywood.
You can't get to that level.
If you ask me, what could have happened, I think Uhuru was genuine. And he had the system with him. But the system was not so sure that Raila could beat Ruto. But when it looked like, yes, he had a chance, everybody within the system backed Uhuru Kenyatta. And that sort of sent him to sleep. I think Uhuru must have realized too late that the system could have cut corners. Again, at some point, it looked like, well, this Ruto man will not be beaten. So I suspect the system could have cut deals with Ruto, leaving Uhuru hanging up there. So by the time he realizes it's too late.
But who is the system? Who is the system if not Uhuru?
That's what I think.
Who is the system?
I have said on this show, the system is deep. Sometimes when I was saying Ruto may not be part of the system, he may think he knows, but he doesn't know. I even went further and said, even Uhuru may not know what is. You remember I've said that?
Yeah.
Systems are deeper. It is a system that removed Trump from power. And Trump was president. So deep state is always deep. I'm telling you, these are powerful forces. You can't touch them. They control even like in South Africa, they were controlling the president. It's not the president running the deep state. It is the deep state determining how the country moves. So they could have seen, it looks like William Ruto was poised to win comfortably. And they cut deals with him. I think they must have been really surprised when at the end of the day, Raila was winning. But there's also another angle to this game. There are many angles. All these are just, we are thinking aloud because things haven't quite settled down. That's why for 3 days, we have not, you could find yourself saying something and you touch people the wrong way. But I think we have cooled enough to discuss some of these things. I think with hindsight, Mother Karua could have been responsible in a way to Raila's tribulations.
We talked about the mother effect.
Now, you see, now we are looking back with hindsight. and not because in the context of the deep state cutting deals with Ruto,
Okay.
mother could also be part of it.
How so?
They would have known Raila is a bad man and he can change things. And he can arrest thieves. And he can stop stealing in this country. These big deals, mega deals.
Oh.
But they thought they could deal with him because Mount Kenya Foundation, Uhuru Kenyatta was with him, and therefore, and he's an old man. When you old, you mellow a bit, you cool down, you become less of fire. You know, not necessarily ash, but in between ash and fire. You know, they could deal. But when he brought mother on board, it looked serious. Those guys would go to jail. And these deals people cut in government will not be there. It is possible that could have influenced the decision by people within the system.
Does that mean, though, that Ruto
to abandon Raila?
Does that mean, though, that Ruto is wrong to say that I am a son of a nobody and I can become president without any support? I think it's Rigathi who said, we didn't work with Uhuru, and I think this is God showing that we can still make it without the system. Does that mean we cannot have a genuine president in Kenya without the support of the deep or the system?
An election is a very complex thing. Many things go into an election, including the one at the Vatican. Many. When you read around, you'll see many things go into an election. An election, like for head of state, is not a simple, straightforward affair. There are intrigues and there are many things. And when books and history is written, some of those things are now unearthed. Oh, those who are there, okay, aha. Like you are a young man. In 30, 40 years' time, 25 years' time, the world is moving so fast. What would be known previously in 50 years can now be known in 10 years, 5 years. You will see some of these things. Then you get to understand the intrigues of an election. Yeah, it's not a very straightforward. That explains why Raila has always had a problem. Because Raila's election is like you just go in and you expect to win. It's not. It's very difficult. There are forces that are at play which you must control and put some, moderate some, you put things in place, including people and what. Raila just goes into an election. And why I call him a magnet, even with all those, look at the votes he gets. One can imagine how it would be for Raila if first he was more organized than he is, and the two, if he played politics the way everybody else plays it.
Talking of Raila, you said he has run severally. What should he have learned in the past election so that he implements them now? So that he could...
I think there's only one thing you can blame Raila for, and for which I have said is not an issue Raila would want to have a conversation. That elections are about games, including a few bad ones, including stealing here and there. And that's not something Raila can engage on. Yeah. I'm not seeing anything, as he has done everything a person can do, apart from structural and organizational flaws. The rest that he didn't do was to be like everybody else. People are saying, Raila, this, for heaven's sake, this is an election. Elections are about games, about deals, about a little stealing here and there, foul play here and there. But those are not things Raila can. So if you are looking at one thing that Raila could have done, learned and then done, beyond those other small issues, it will be then to play like everybody else. Then the question that you'll have to deal with would be a very simple question. Simple but hard also. What then would it be that Raila was fighting for all these years? What was he? Why was he suffering? So that he can join the people in doing the things they do? So that he can become president? A little stealing here and there, a little game here and there. He will not do that.
No, for Ruto, his presidency is all about anyone can become president. Correct. A son of a nobody can become president. What does Raila's loss
But if you look at our Kenyan history, that again looks like a stupid argument. And I've said it before.
How so?
Kenyatta was a plumber. Decorate hapa, kusoma meter. And pimping around for British soldiers. And selling them changan, giving them Kikuyu girls. So, and he became president. Moi was an orphan, a total orphan. He even didn't have a father. He grew in people's homes. Then he became president. Jaramogi was a teacher and he became vice president. So what is this business of, I'm looking at our history,
Okay.
People have seen Kibaki's sisters and brother. They sleep in all the mabati houses. Sister yake anashona kiondo tu, in a useless house with 2 goats. So what is this obsession with the dynasty or a son of nobody can become? If we had our history, there are countries with histories, long history of dynasties, and nobody outside that dynasty ever gets to power.
Yeah.
If we had a history of that nature, then what they are saying could make sense. But to me, it doesn't make sense.
Tell me then about...
Of the presidents we have had, only Uhuru Kenyatta can be said to be a person who was born with a silver spoon, so to speak, to use the cliche, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the rest are just people who came from nowhere, orphans and everything. Kenyatta even didn't have a father. So what are we talking about?
So
He's raised by a stepfather.
So you say his presidency doesn't mean anything?
No, it means nothing. It could only mean something if somebody from Kibra stood and became president. But Ruto is a billionaire. He's at par with Ruto and Raila, with everybody else. So what is this? Is a narrative you pick to win your vote. So we must give it to Ruto. He knows when you want to become something, it's a very simple narrative. You look for a bogeyman. If people are suffering, you look for somebody with whom they can associate their problems. So being a smart student of history and having learned more, he knew, looking at the suffering of Kenyans, just say your problems are because of the dynasties. And it worked.
What then does Raila's loss, or if he won, would have meant for Kenyans?
If Raila won?
Yes.
I have always said, and I've demonstrated here, that Moi did better than Kenyatta. He did something Kenyatta had not done, made Kenya a better place. Kibaki came and did better than Moi had done. Uhuru has come, he has done better than Kibaki. For some people may want to argue, but with the facts, just all over you, wherever you are sitting, there are facts that what Uhuru has done. If you compare what everybody else had done, Kenyatta, Moi, Kibaki, plus the colonial government, on many fronts, he has done better than all of them combined. Now Ruto is president. I want to assure you, he will do better than what Uhuru has done. If Raila had won, he will do better than what Uhuru has done. But that is if you look at things using a normal measure, the standard measure of what it means to move the country forward. But I've always argued that there is a way when the bar is raised high. When you look at a country like Kenya and they say in 20, 30, 15 years, can it join the League of Nations? Can Kenyans live like human beings? Can I see Korogosho, Madare, Kibra, Kawangware, Ngwaro? Can I see all those things demolished and the lowest habitat? So that Umoja, a place like Umoja or Buruburu, is the lowest dwelling in Nairobi. Can I see a situation where everybody who lives in Nairobi accesses water, clean water, toilet? Can I see all these dirty schools replaced by modern 21st century classrooms and schools? Can I see a situation where the Kenyan worker gets a wage or a salary that makes them live like human beings? That now you remove it beyond what is now standard.
Okay.
You now look for somebody who can have a vision to change the country. You get it?
Yeah.
A dream that in 20 years when I'm not even there, this country will be this way. And that's why I say people like Raila belong. People with a dream to change and transform society.
I want to know then, what's next for Raila? I read for you this tweet before we started. Someone saying you should go tell Raila that he should not handshake Ruto. He should get out of Kenya. Kenyans need to learn because he's not there. Let things happen as they would. What's next for him?
I've been asked these questions from 2013 and I told people Raila will be there because Raila can reinvent himself. People laughed me off. I've talked to people in 2017 and especially international people. I told them, nah, it's over for Raila. I told them, Raila, is a man who can reinvent himself. Raila is a revolutionary who has had to tame himself to fit in the modern democratic practices and systems and the modern world. So I don't know what Raila will do. He's capable of anything. He can reinvent himself. After 2017, everybody wrote him off. Look at the power he has wielded in the last 4 or 5 years. So I don't want to write him off. But more importantly, those who think Raila was looking for the presidency are misinformed. Raila was never wanting to be president.
What was he doing in the ballot then?
Not to be president. He was not looking for a job. Ruto was looking for a job. Raila wasn't looking for a job. That's why people say, how can Raila take these laws and still stand up and face people and talk and walk? It's because he's not looking for a job. Raila is not looking for a job to be president.
What was he doing then? That is the question.
Raila is head of a movement. The struggle to transform this country that has taken decades, that has claimed lives, that has had victims and casualties, but has its moments of successes and losses. A struggle where a few battles have been won, others have been lost. But cumulatively, a struggle that has brought Kenya where it is today. So that the people of my age, not your age, when they look at what's going around and they look at what Kenya was and what it could be in the absence of Matiba, Rubia, Manyora, Orengo, Raila, all these Mukisa Kituis, in the absence of the struggle they put in, at great risk to life, to person, to family, that is the struggle Raila has been head of. And when you look at it as a struggle, then this thing we went through on 9th, and the Chapka declared on 15th, and the Supreme Court validated on 5th, that will produce Uhuru Ruto being sworn in, is a battle, which is lost. But the war is big and continues.
So next for Raila, the movement continues.
The movement continues. And look here, one good thing about movements, you don't have to be there. If you can contribute to keep the flame of freedom burning, that's why people like Raila belong. To ensure the flame of freedom continues to burn and to show the path where the people should go. So you read the Bible, then you are looking at Moses getting the people of Israel from Pharaoh in Egypt, crossing the Red Sea over the Sinai mountain and looking yonder at the promised land. You are looking at Martin Luther King. He was not there to see the first black man become a president of America in the name of Barack Obama. But he struggled, and I think his last speech, must have been last before he was assassinated. I've been on top of the mountain, and I've seen the promised land. I may not be there with you, but I've seen the promised land. That's Martin Luther King. So that's where people like Raila belong. So when we judge them over small things like winning the president, sometimes they sympathize with us. But they understand. We don't understand, most of us. When somebody is in a struggle, the day when you wake up from your house, you know you can die. You know your house can be raised down. Your family can be finished. Because it has happened in history. And yet such a men and women, and there are few men like those, they continue to soldier on. And therefore when they lose something like an election like this, it doesn't mean to them what it means to you and I.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you so much for tuning into a political conversation. My name is Jed Kabir. Until we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.